Hey, what's happening? Welcome to Cinema Recap. Today we're going to touch on a John Hughes comedy from '91 called Career Opportunities, where we have Jim, the dorky son of a local cement contractor who lives at home and has no direction. Josie, on the other hand, is a gorgeous daughter of a wealthy businessman who dreams of leaving town, and the two find out that they have a lot in common. Spoilers ahead. We start off with our guy Dodge, Jim Dodge. A guy reading a newspaper who seems to have it all figured out. Isn't that right, Jim? He's a professional. Liar. He likes to think of himself as someone who knows what he's talking about, monologuing during his boring day job to a bunch of dogs. He prides himself on being able to make up stories and lies on the spot, but doesn't consider himself a liar.
Listen to the dogs, Shuby. They love me.
Jim, the dogs were probably just as sick of your crap as your boss was. Oh, and Jim can't keep a job to save his life. He spends more time talking than what he does working, earning himself a not-so-great reputation with the folks around town. You see, Jim likes to tell tall tales. He thinks he's cool, as he makes up stories about creating cow hearts and buying and selling the animal shelter that he just got fired from. Tax problems, he says. But he's probably lucky he's telling it to a bunch of naive 12-year-olds and not actual adults. They're the only audience who will listen to him at this point. Jim, that's probably your first sign that you messed up. People kind of look at you weird when your only audience is kids. You see, Jim's big mouth annoys everyone around him, earning dirty looks and cold shoulders everywhere he goes.
Like the new uniform, Lorraine.
The small town seems to have his number. No one really falling for his lies and BS anymore. You should probably listen to your friend's advice, Jim. An honest guy who's doing cross-stitch? Huh, who knew? Tells him some hard truth.
Got no idea how full of shit you are.
He can't even get someone to hire him for free, let alone pay him. St. Louis is looking pretty good now. And that's when Jim sees her. Josie. Connolly. She still looks the same. She's a woman that everyone in town wants to be with. She's pretty, has those full eyebrows, before they were popular, and a red sports car with matching lipstick. And while Jim's trying to look cool with his shades and a cigarette, he's confronted by his pops, who's clearly just as sick of his as the rest of the town. Now his charm is cut short by Daddy dragging him home to dinner. Yeah, man, I don't think he's listening.
I had no idea it was gonna be a higher fire situation.
At Jim's house, it's a fun 90s family meal with grumpy Dad shoveling food into his mouth as the kids are telling rumors and stories about the people in town. It's clear that no one in Jim's own family listens to him either. They all roast him about losing another job, including his little brother. Well, everyone except Mom. She's a little bit supportive. Good old Mom. Even your sister's less disappointing, and also pays rent. Now Jim's poor dad just wants him to make something of himself. He's tired, like most hard-working blue-collar parents, and he just wants to have his peace and quiet one day. Something that Jim and the majority of basement dwellers aren't willing to give him. God, Jim sleeps like a rock. Poor Jim's dad. All he wants is for his kids to leave the house.
I love living at home.
Clearly not what he wanted to hear him say. Now Jim needs a job, like most awkward guys who'd rather live at home forever, or his dad is kicking him out and putting him on that bus to St. Louis. He drops Jim off at the only place left in town for him to work at, the home and playground for millions of moms, Target. Unfortunately for Jim, Target is his only hope, as no one else will hire him. He's interviewed by a legend, a pretty sweet one at that, and thanks to some confusion in Jim's ability to bullshit, he nearly landed himself a pretty good gig. That's until his boss realized it was a mistake. Oops. Well, the swagger and confidence almost worked. To his disappointment, now he's just the night cleanup boy.
Well, I'm a little overpaid for night cleanup boy.
Not even a janitor. It's a terrible title. That's definitely more his pay scale, though. Sorry, Jimbo. Next, we meet Josie's father, who's some big-time dude that runs the town they live in. He's the kind of guy that doesn't take crap from anybody, especially the governor. He's also the kind of guy that doesn't want to supply jobs or bring new work opportunities to his town. Why?
I don't need jobs.
Because he's an asshole and he can. What's an even better way to flex on some guys you're trying to intimidate? You show off your super hot daughter, that's how.
Come here.
Well, she'll show
These
him.
gentlemen.
Yeah. Josie, come on in. Make everyone really uncomfortable. Cue the naughty behavior to embarrass your father in 3, 2, 1. Bob looks out, but not poor Dave. No smooches for you. Dad was definitely not happy though.
You did today?
I'll beat the living daylights out of you.
Now we cut to some bad guys from the newspaper. Whoever did the witness drawing of these two needs a new job. They're lurking around in the woods, looking for a car to steal. Who has a station wagon in the middle of the woods? Oh, right. It was a time when people used to drive to remote locations just to make out. No one's heard of the Zodiac Killer. Oh well. Pretty sure there were easier and better ways to find a car, but that's just me. Speaking of cars, Jim hires a limo to take him to work for the first day. You know, since having his dad drive him is embarrassing. He's that guy that just wants to have nice things even when he can't afford it. Don't be that guy, Jim. Trying to look cool when you're not is more embarrassing than your dad driving you to work. Ah, I see. Jim wanted to flex on his 12-year-old fan club. These kids are gullible. Jim honestly has a complex, or something's wrong with him, I think. The arrogance and narcissism is real. Now somewhere in the store, our vixen Josie's using her big coat and rich people boredom to steal from Target. Apparently Josie doesn't know she's loaded, or just maybe she wants to get caught. Or maybe she just wants to piss off her dad. It's gotta be one of those. Jim staring down the barrel of a gun. Jeez, maybe he should call HR. As he's getting the layout of his job by his gap-toothed and aggressive night shift manager.
Are you lazy?
Man, no wonder they needed a new employee. The boss probably killed him. Retail work clearly has this guy unhinged. He already seems to hate Jim, or maybe he just hates his job.
You know what a grazer is, boy?
Jim's brain buffers as he wears his Target jumpsuit and gets locked inside the store to complete his bitch work. It's alright, Jim, just accept your retail prison. You know, you count yourself lucky, buddy, because I could think of hundreds of millennial moms that would love to live at Target. It's too bad it's missing a Starbucks. Wow, I'm actually impressed. Never mind. I guess at least he's trying. Until he decides to take a break. Probably shouldn't do that. That guy did point a gun at you. The threat of death is not enough to scare Jim into getting back to work. He's that employee that never wants to do their job. And now I can see why you've been fired so many times. So while trying to go to bed, his parents are reflecting on how they could have raised him better. Meanwhile, Jimmy's working on creating his own little garage band and blading around the aisles. And he sees a ghost, or Josie. The hell's she doing there? Well, having a new friend to talk to while locked inside Target's pretty awesome. But Jim wants to know why she's there.
What are you doing here?
She wanted to get caught shoplifting, to disappoint good old dad, cause he's too rich and doesn't give her enough attention. Two people with daddy issues. Looks like we have something in common. Jim takes Josie on an impromptu date sponsored by Target. And she isn't afraid to call him out on his motor mouth. Josie, hit that nail on the head.
You always talk this much?
So now Jim thinks it's a good time to light up a cigar. Really trying that cool mafioso vibe. He takes the news a little hard when Josie brings up that people call him the town liar.
You're the town liar, right?
Jim, come on, man. You can't really be surprised. Well, he tells her that people call her a tease, which she's not surprised by.
I can see that.
They talk about how they feel their lives have fallen short, yet Jim's content with staying at home and living with his parents. And we all know how much Jim's dad loves that idea. Like most young people, she just wants to break free from her father's controlling nature and calls Jim out again for lying about being comfortable at home. The kids always think they have it the worst. Meanwhile, Jim's dad has fallen into a pit of depression. Over here eating fried chicken with peanut butter at midnight while Josie's father's meandering around town with Officer Don, looking for her. It's alright, guy. They won't stay home forever. Well, let's hope not. Josie and Jim's opposite experiences and opinions on life gives them the perfect idea.
Would you go with me somewhere?
Jim has struck gold with the hottest, richest girl in town asking him to run away with her. And he's honestly acting like he's not sure. What an idiot. He makes up some nonsense about $1 million drug drop and how Josie's the hostage. In a brilliant moment of dumb confusion, Jim jumps up and startles Unibrow and his friend, shouting into a boombox like it's a giant walkie-talkie. If these guys were any smarter, this wouldn't have worked. The idiots start to panic and wave their guns around. The moment of distraction and confusion flusters them and it looks like it's working. Nice job, Jim. Well, until the two robbers pull a fast one and trick Jimmy. Who's the dumb one now? Why would you give the guns back, even if they weren't loaded? Somehow, he managed to metaphorically shoot himself in the foot, going from being in control to being held hostage again, all in a matter of minutes.
I'm fairly sure that we're gonna die.
He's realizing that these are probably the same guys that killed a man last week. You'll manage something, Jim. No one wants to die a virgin. To pass the time, they go to the cafe and smash some corn dogs, you know, 'cause thieves just like to hang out and eat for hours in the same store they're robbing. Makes total sense. For everyone's entertainment, Josie decided to hop on that little riding horse and give it a go while those three men watched. Even while insulting them, they can't help but stare as she gently moves back and forth on the barely galloping little horse. Well, obviously, she knows sex sells. Unibrow clearly has a thing for Josie as she continues to tease the robbers. I'm not sure why he's rubbing his chest like that. Who else is uncomfortable? Josie's talents at being a devious master manipulator become obvious to Jim as he's watching her convince these thieves to proceed with robbing the store. She has that unibrow practically eating out of her hand. They grab everything from candy, watches, and radios to condoms and shoe inserts. Maybe Unibrow's partner didn't have a lot growing up. Jim's not clear on whether or not Josie wants to actually help the robbers or if she's going along with it to save them. Confused me too. Josie, what's happening? Thought you liked Jim. Talk about hurting a guy's feelings. But you know, for somebody who loves to lie, Jim's not really good at telling when other people are. Now, Jim wants to be a hero, so he tries to stop the guys from leaving with all the stolen merchandise. Now, Normal Eyebrows is sick of his crap, even when Jim's barely done anything to annoy him. Jim's definitely had enough things shoved up his ass after listening to him talk about his epic wedgie years in high school. There's some kind of unspoken tension and communication between Jim and Josie. Besides the intense staring, it's hard to say what it is they're thinking. Come on, guys, I need more facial expressions. Jim's all sad that Josie's about to leave with the robbers, but remembers that his gap-toothed boss has a big-ass shotgun. Nice. Josie clearly has a plan as she continues to give Unibrow the sexy eyes, making this cartoon character completely comfortable as he's stroking his chest and tiny mustache. She takes her opportunity to hop in the driver's seat and take off. Oh, so that was the plan the whole time. The thieves come back into Target. Now they have no way to escape, and Jim uses his monologuing talents to annoy these robbers even further. They track him behind the service desk and are greeted down the barrel of a giant shotgun. Boom. Jim finally gets to have his day. Not only did he save Target, but now he's got the girl. And now it looks like Jim and Josie really make their dreams come true. Well, maybe. Not sure if they're gonna rename Hollywood to Jimwood, but he can always hope. And that wraps that one up. Thanks for sticking with us on the 1991 Hughes Entertainment and Universal Picture release. So, what do you think Jim did once he and Josie went to LA? A. Became a con artist, or B. Found a real job? Go ahead and let us know what you think in the comments below with the hashtag CinemaRecap. Till next time.